Welcome everyone for today's session. We are going to discuss about this very well-known exam of PMP, and we are going to discuss about how you can prepare. We can discuss about how you can qualify. And today we have Mr. Ramesh Chepur, who is a principal consultant with us for project management. He himself is PMP certified from I think 15 years now. RMP certified, is CSQA certified, and Prince2 certified. He has taken more than 500 sessions for PMP and 100 plus sessions for RMP and many sessions for Prince2 as well. He is throughout a project manager and an educator. He has trained in various countries, more than 10 countries as I'm aware. He has trained in India, Middle East, USA, Europe, and he has trained online for more than 25 countries audiences. He is well versed with PMI. He is, very many membership he has with different, forums he is connected, and he has had a success rate of close to 100% when it comes to PMP exam over a very long period. He has been training for more than 10 years now, and he is a veteran in this area. And I'm so happy that we can have him guide us for today's session. So thank you, Ramesh sir, for your time.
Thank you. I just wanted to add my intro. That is, I'm a reviewer and contributor to PMBOK, which is a Bible for this exam. And
Yes,
version 4, version 5, and version 7, I have given contribution, and they have been accepted and published in the PMBOK. And you can find my name. I would have done version 6 also, but I was traveling to different countries and I didn't have time to do so. So I just missed one version. Otherwise, I would have had consequently all the four versions of it, 4, 5, 6, 7 kind of thing.
yes. Amazing, amazing. So that is just something that everybody should be aware. So PMBOK is basically created by taking expertise from different parts of the world, and Ramesh sir is very, one of the very few experts who have had the privilege and opportunity to contribute to that. So that is just a wonderful thing to know. As you guys are aware about us, InfoSec Train is one of the premier training and consulting organizations in India now. We are, closing in on our fifth anniversary very soon. Very happy to getting into our, prime years, and we hope to add value to our clients' careers and their knowledge. As you're aware, we are providing wide range of programs, certification, consulting programs, majorly into IT, cybersecurity domain. But now, as you can see, we are trying to expand into different areas so we can help our patrons and our clients to take the advantage of the unique model which we have, and take these advantages to new areas. We provide always the high quality. There is no stone unturned when it comes to quality services, and we have our experts which are having 15 years of experience over that also many years of experience in the domains take advantage of that. So that is quickly about us. Moving on, as you're all aware, we are doing very well and very happy to have customers contributing to our success. More than 4 years now, closing in 5 years. 70 plus we have trainers. It's now close to 100. We offer 150 plus courses. Till date, we have trained 15,000. We are closing in on 20,000. Very soon, we'll cross that. We are partnered with many prestigious institutes. We are having corporate clients where we've done 100 plus, I think now 200 plus deliveries as well. So we are doing very well and very happy to have loyal customers who have given us the opportunity. Few of our top clients when it comes to corporates, you can see that across the globe we are working with these clients and very happy that we can contribute to their success as well. So that's a quick recap of them. Why InfoSec Train? I'm sure that I don't need to repeat, but some of the very few companies who are providing flexible modes weekend programs, recorded sessions, post training completion, you get support. Instructors are always certified instructors, and always we have a personal touch when it comes to student relations. So that is something that is always there with us. We are Microsoft partners, CompTIA partners, ISACA, PECD, EC Council, and ITpreneurs. And now with Mr. Ramesh sir, we are now can offer the PMI courses as well. So we're very glad to announce that we are starting with that, and very happy to tell you that we are ready now to start with the PM project management as a domain. And with that, I leave you in the capable hands of Ramesh sir. He will now take it ahead and help you guys understand what is PMP, how you can start your journey, and how we can help you, what we are offering in our session, how you can get registered, and answer your questions as well. So thank you so much for your time, everyone, and I hope you are able to get some value out of today's session. So, all the best, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Kapil. Hey, good evening and welcome. And I'm very glad you are all joined us. This is an introduction to project management professional exam conducted by PMI, that is Project Management Institute, USA. It's a very, very, very prestigious certification because nowadays all the corporates, all the companies, and everywhere, wherever you look at it, project is the very common term. Earlier, we used to have only kind of operations and assignments, but now everything is project oriented and project perspective. Even you can find kind of projects, even a school kid, you can find it, the nursery, LKG students also, I'm doing the project. That's what they say. Then when it is so overwhelming world over, everything is encapsulated by project management concept or project management opportunities. So we should also get to know and get certified to make our project success. So this is how the PMI has introduced PMP certification. Here we are going to look at what is PMI and what is PMP. And PMP, what, why, and how. Exam format and application format and how the exam would be, what is the cost of it, and how you should take up this certification. And you have to consider this certification as well a project, then only you can succeed it. And I'm going to give you some tips how to do it. Okay, and any questions we can ask them. Now let us look at it. What is PMI? The word PMI is an abbreviation of Project Management Institute. First of all, we should understand what exactly the project management is. We always have a word manage. What do you mean by manage? Whenever I say word manage, I try to succeed. I wanted to have success ensured. So I want to have my project success ensured. For that, what I am going to do, that's what my management. Now, why it is important? Each one will have the way they wanted to do it. Everybody does a work in a different way. The simpler example to understand, you have a roti and a curry to eat. This is your meal. And the same thing is prepared in 100 different ways. And that's what the process behind it. Everybody is enjoying the food what they prepare, but the approach is different. But whenever we look at it, oh, that is very tedious, I don't want to do it. I am comfortable with this. So you would like to adopt the method what you want. In this case, what would happen? The way you are doing it, you are at comfort zone. may not ensure you the success. Sometimes you may incur more cost, sometimes you may be delayed, or sometimes you may not deliver what exactly the objectives of the project is. Therefore, the PMI has prepared as do's and don'ts documented, and it is called as PMBOK, Project Management Body of Knowledge. And to get this project management body of knowledge published, it interacted with the different people across the globe doing different domains, different sectors, different technologies, what kind of project they are doing it, how they have performed, what is the end result, whether they are succeeded, failure, what went wrong, what went right, and this is how they have documented, and they said that these are the suggestions from our side to make any project regardless of the domain, technology, and sector. And that's how the PMI has emerged as a non-profit organization delivering the project management methodology across the globe. And it has got members more than 200,000, and it's present over 150 countries. Whenever I say present in the different countries, it has its chapters, PMI chapters. We have PMI chapters in India in different countries. We have one in Pune, one in Hyderabad, one in Delhi, one in Calcutta, one in Chennai, one in Trivandrum, one in Bangalore. You name a city, we have a chapter. Similarly, across the globe, you have in Paris, in London, in New York, in California, there is San Francisco, and like that. There are many places. Pennsylvania, everywhere, every nook and corner of it. Even so-called the African continent also has so many PMI chapters. So what is the use of these chapters? They have meetings, they interact, they exchange information, and they try to contribute their collective knowledge to the PMI. That's how they operate it. Okay. It has comprised of 247 chartered chapters and 16 new potential chapters and 30 specific interest groups and colleges. This is how they have. And PMI sets industry standards, conducts research, provides education, certification, and professional exchange opportunities for the people. Okay. And it is dedicated to offering a globally recognized quality-based credential program for project management, which we call it as PMP. Now, let us look at what exactly the PMP is. It is a certification that ensures the holder has a basic knowledge of the project management, that is the PMBOK, and its application. Now, what exactly this certification and why it is important? Let me ask you a question. If one of your colleague or your family member is sick, you would like to take him to a doctor. There are two people. One person is not certified, not educated, but he has got very good knowledge and he can treat. He is a quack. He is not certified. He is not MBBS. He is not MS. He is not MB or FRCS whatsoever. But he does the treatment. The other one is qualified and he has got certifications and also knowledge and experience. Whom do you go? Definitely you prefer a person with certification. The same logic applies to you. Your employer would be looking at, if I choose this guy, he has got a PMP certification, the client dependency would be more when I have him. If I do not have him, probably the other guy may be more expertise in technology, but he has the skill to make the project success. He has ability to make the client happy. So he would prefer to select that guy. Therefore, the PMP examination and certification plays a major role in your career growth. Okay. And this PMBOK is used to communicate across the professionals using the specific terminology or jargon, what you call it as. So with that vocabulary, you know what you are speaking and you understand what the other guy is speaking. And this is how the PMBOK is going to help you. And whenever you realize that this PMP exam is very vital for the career growth, you must understand what this exam is. The exam is online exam. You can take this exam because of the pandemic from your house or from your work. Your home or work doesn't matter. You can book it, you can do it yourself. But there are some conditions to fulfill. You have to meet. Your laptop should have a mic and a camera working properly, and you should be inside the room and it should be locked. No one should be there. You should not have any electronic communication equipment like Bluetooth or mobile or whatsoever kind of thing. And your room should be totally without any resources related to the exam point of it. Then you can go for it. The other thing is you can go for this exam online by the exam administrators appointed by the PMI. These are the Pearson VUE worldwide. So they have exam centers almost at every major city in the world. And I'm sure the city which you are living, they must be having exam center for that. If not, you have to choose the closest one, you can travel. And the beauty of this exam is you can take this exam anywhere in the globe. You are traveling to Paris, you can take it there. You are traveling to New York, you can take it there. No restrictions. But you have to book well in advance your exam slot and take it. Okay. The examination is comprised of 180 multiple choice questions that should be answered in 230 minutes. That means 10 minutes less than 4 hours. And it should be one go. You cannot have any break between. That is, officially you cannot freeze your screen, go out and come back and restart your timer. No. Once your exam started, the timer goes on, clicks on, tick, 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 tick. And then once you have completed all the 180 questions, you can submit the button, stop, complete your exam, or once you finish your 230, automatically the exam will stop, and whatever you have answered, only on that your evaluation is performed. One more thing, there are no negative marking. It's one of the beautiful things. And I wanted to tell you the difference between the previous exam and the present exam. Earlier to this exam pattern, this exam pattern started from January 1st. Earlier to that, that is December 31st, 2020, the exam pattern was different. It was having 5 domains and it was having 200 questions and it was having 4 hours, that is 230 minutes of time. And all the questions were only radio button. That is, you have to choose one of the 4 options given. Now the question pattern has slightly changed. The number of questions changed from 200 to 180. The number of minutes reduced from 240 to 230. And the questions will have not only the radio button, but also multiple choice. That is, you may have to choose more than one answer, or you may have to fill in the blank, or you may have to match them. So A to 1, 2 to E, something like that. So the questions would be of different combinations. Okay. And the exam is more focused on how you perform your project. As a project manager, given scenario, what would be your response? That is the focus of the exam. Remember one thing, it is not how you perform in your projects, in your organization. The projects, what you do on your organizational way, the way the organization asks you to perform could be different. You should not consider for your answering of these questions, because the questions are from the PMI perspective and answer should be of the PMI perspective. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot imagine the question the way you have performed on your project earlier. You might have done and the client is happy what you have done. No issues. That is between you and your client, and it is a commercial equation between you, your organization and your client organization. That is no way we, or rather I am concerned about it. But when the exam is concerned, the PMI is very specific how this person perspective to the answer from the PMBOK perspective, from the PMBOK orientation, how best he understood the PMBOK and how best he is going to respond according to the PMBOK. So one of the best example is whenever we have a project, usually a project is allocated to you by a letter. This a document or a letter may be called a different name in your organization. You may call it as a project letter, you may call it as project document, or you may call it an initiating letter, or you may call it as project initiation document. Whatever name you do it, whatever name you call it, we are not concerned about. But we are concerned how the PMI want to call it. They call this document as project charter, and we have to remember, because we give utmost importance to the jargon, vocabulary, terminology, what is being used. And the same thing you have to reproduce and remember for the exam format. Yes, I made it very clear. This, as I told you, the 1st of January, the exam pattern has changed. Now, as I told you, in 2020, December, till December 20, last of 2020, the exam was having 5 domains. These 5 domains were initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Now, these 5 domains have been reduced to 3 domains. And these 3 domains are people, process, and the business. What is process? Remember what you had till December, all the 5 process, all 5 domains are part of one domain here as a process. That is, the 5 process groups and all other processes according to whatever we have in our PMBOK, that is only the process part of it, that domain. We have 50% questions coming from that. And those who want to note down, you can note down it, you can write down. The process will have a 50% questions from 180 total questions. That is 90 questions come from that. The second, people. you have a 42% questions coming from that. Whenever I say 42%, 42% of 180. And another 8% are coming from the business perspective. What exactly the business perspective is? Whenever we take up a project, it must have reason to do it. That should be fulfilling the need. And whenever I have a need, that need will have a commercial outlook of it, or I would call it as a benefit. So I do this project to get some benefit. If I don't see any benefit, I would not do that. Therefore, I am going to look at what is the business, what is the benefit I'm going to get from this. Based on that, I have the project executed. Therefore, these 8% of the questions coming on the business perspective, that is business case, business needs analysis, and feasibility studies, and project selection process, and benefits management, all these together, you have 8% questions. Okay. The next what we have is people. Here, whenever we say a project is always with the people. You cannot imagine a project without people. If there is a project, you call it as a project where you do not use any person, any people. I would not accept it as a project. I would call it as a robotic operation, because no human intervention, there is no human intellectual utility, there is no interaction between the people. That's the reason we do have people and people management. As a project manager, I have to talk to my team. I have to talk to my client. I have to talk to my vendors. I have to talk to the other stakeholders from the government sector, from the commercial sector, from within the organization, outside the organization, whatever. Therefore, the people management becomes most important. That's the reason the number of questions are 42 coming from that. Here I have the power. Here I have the style of operation. Here I have my leadership qualities. Here I have my communication skills, whatnot. Anything and everything related to the people management, we do have it from that. So this is what we have it. And as I told you, the testing centers are around the world, across the globe, wherever you would like to, you can have it. The complete list of testing locations you can get from the pearsonvue.com. You can select it. So far, I guess the information what we have is clear to you. Now let us look into the exam fee. Whenever we have an exam, the exam is not free, though it is non-profit, because they have administrative expenses, so they have to meet it. As far as I know, from 2002, I am a member of PMI and I am closely following. The exam fee has not changed so far from 2002, what I have noticed, observing it. Okay? That's the reason we call this as a non-profit. Even though the costs have gone up, they are not increasing the cost, because the number of takers are more and they are trying to accommodate their costs. Okay, the exam fee is for PMI members, it's a $405. Then you may have a question: what is PMI member and how much it would cost? Now let us see what exactly the PMI membership is. The PMI membership is $129 per annum. You have to pay every year to renew it. As I told you, I am a member of PMI from 2002, and every year I am paying my subscription to them. Their membership fee I am paying every year. And if it is for a non-member, you have to spend $555. Now, If you see very clearly, there is $150 saving. If you are a member, if you are a non-member. Okay. So this 150, if you look at, if I want to become a member, I'm only spending 129. With that, it leaves $11 for me to save. Remember, this $11 is not a big deal to save, but what is there in me for to become a PMI member? When I become a PMI member, the very first advantage and the benefit I get is I get an official copy of PMBOK, a soft copy I can download, which is exclusively licensed on my name. Of course, there are conditions that I cannot share, I cannot transfer, I cannot sell, I cannot reproduce whatsoever, but I can use it myself. Any number of times I can download and I can use it. Remember, this book will cost you approximately $65 to $75. Let us put it $65. You are already paying $150 not becoming member, and you are going to save, let's say, $75 on the book. So the total is $225. No, that's one thing. Second one, once you become a PMI member, you have an access to all the resources within the PMI. Any book, any kind of thing, you can read it. You cannot download, but definitely you can read them. You can interact with them. Third one, you can become a member to PMI chapters where you exchange information. You interact with the other professionals, peers, colleagues, and experts. You learn from them, you contribute to them, which would enhance your knowledge bank. Third, you get the PMI journals published. One is quarterly and the one is the half yearly and bi-monthly or something like that. Those books are directly sent to you to your inbox. You can just click on download it and read, and you get latest information, articles and whatever, whatnot. You get everything what you need on project management updates. So these are the benefits to become member of PMI. So I always advise you should become PMI member and get these benefits. Okay. And some may have a question, in case if I do not succeed first time, if I have to go for second attempt, is it free? Sorry, no free lunch. Americans do not believe in it. Here, your retake exam is not that they have a discounted price. For re-exam PMI members, $275. For non-members, it is $375. You have 3 attempts in one application approval within 12 months of time period. That is, let's assume that today, 16th July 2021, you got your PMP application approved by PMI. You have exactly 1 year, 12 months time, and within this 12 months, you can take 3 times the exam. So first attempt, 2 retakes, you can go for it. Okay, and I am sure, I am confident, if you enroll with us, you don't need second attempt at all. First attempt itself, you will have your PMP status. That's one thing. Okay. Why I'm telling is sometimes a person may not be able to take the exam within the 12 months. What is his status? Example, Kapil is there and Kapil has registered for PMP and he applied and he got his approval, and due to the workload or due to the family or due to the health reasons whatsoever, he may not be able to or he could not take the exam within this 12 months period. Then what next? You have to resubmit your application again to PMI and get an approval. You will get another 1 year window for your exam. This is what it is. Okay, this is how it works. Then next is eligibility criteria. This PMP exam is not just like your GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, or IELTS, or any Microsoft exam like Azure or any kind of other exam, any certifications. They don't see where you studied, what is your qualification, what is your experience, blah, blah, blah. They don't ask it. You pay the exam fee, book your exam slot, go and write and come out. If you pass, it's okay. If you don't pass, it's okay. But here, they do not entertain any person without having the proper education, experience, and knowledge of project management. That's the reason they have the eligibility criteria defined. So there are three categories. Category A, let's have a look at it. A bachelor's degree. Whenever we say bachelor degree, it is 12 plus 4. It is 12 plus 4. That means total 16 years of education, a formal education you should have. When you have, you are considered as a bachelor's degree, and you must have a minimum 3 years, 36 months of unique non-overlapping project management experience. What is this non-overlapping? I will explain you a little later, maybe in the forthcoming slide. So here you must have done the project, and each project you would have a specific period to complete. One project you might have done 8 months, another project you might have done 11 months, another project you might have done 15 months, another project you might have done 3 months. So the total duration of this must be 36 months, not less than that. And this project experience must be previous 8 to 10 years, not beyond that. Somebody may be having 20 years or 25 years of experience. I do not want what you have done 15 years ago, what you have done 20 years ago. I want to see what you have done previous 10 years, 8 years, preferably less than 8 years is what you want. So if you have that, that is one, education, second one is project experience. And along with that, you must have 35 contact hours of formal education on your project management. That means if you want to go for a PMP exam, before you apply for this, you should have your graduation certificate, you should have 36 months of project completion, and you should also have undergone the project management training what is conducted by our company. Not only that, our company, any company which is going to give you this 35 hours of contact project management formal education, you might have undergone. Or if you have already CAPM certificate. What is this CAPM certificate? CAPM is one of the certification by PMI. There are various certifications exam conducted by PMI. Their flagship certification is PMP, and there is the CAPM. CAPM stands for Certified Associate Project Manager. What exactly it means? For this, you are aware of the project management without experience, or you have experience without education. So you can go for that exam, which is based on the same PMBOK, and you have different number of questions, different time periods, and then that also you need to apply and get an approval, and then you can go for it. If you are certified CAPM, then you are exempted from this 35 hours of training. Okay. The second category B, secondary high school, that is, if you are only 10 plus, that is 12 years of total education. Why this? In most of the countries, many people stop their education after school. They stop. They start working immediately after their school, because in their country, education up to 12 is a mandatory. It is provided by the state, and every student should get qualified up to that. It's a mandatory education for them. And those who stop there and start working on different work, different projects, if they want to go for PMP certification, this is the category B. For them, you must have 5 years, that is 60 months of unique non-overlapping project management experience, and the same 35 hours of project management knowledge training or PAPM certified. This is what we do. And category C, there is third one also, where bachelor or postgraduate. If I am not only just a graduate, 16 years, I have post-graduation or diploma in post-graduation, there my number of project experience months are being reduced to 24. So I must have unique non-overlapping projects duration not less than 24 months and 35 hours of project management knowledge training or CAPM certificate. So wherever it is, CAPM certificate is exempting you from this kind of training. Okay, then you should have either 24 months or 36 months or 60 months, depending on your qualification. If you are a high school, you must have 60 months. If you are a bachelor, you should have 36 months. If you are a postgraduate, you can have 24 months plus. That's all. Okay. What is overlapping, non-overlapping? Usually we do work on projects simultaneously. I'm working on a project A and also working on project B and also working on project C and also working on project D. It's fine with my organization, and I have to and I must, because it is an instruction. It is a mandatory for me to work. But PMI does not recognize. It says that a person should be working on a project only one, not. Therefore, they say that non-overlapping. If you look at in this slide, project 1 and project 2, they are overlapping periods between February, March, and April. Whereas project 1 and project 3, if you look at it, they are non-overlapping. Okay, so this is what project management experience, what I need to apply. So whenever I want to apply for PMP, I have to go to pmi.org and want to go for PMP, ready for it, submitting your application, click on that, start filling your details. First, you have to fill your demographic details, such as your name, your workplace, your telephone, your resident, your email ID, blah, 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 so many things. And whenever you do it, your profile is created where you are supposed to have your username and a password. And whenever you reopen it, whenever you visit pmi.org, the username and password is a mandatory for you to explore more on their site. So you have to have your profile created. Once you have your profile created, you have to select your exam and start filling the details, like what is your highest education and how many years of experience you have it, what organization you're working, what is your role you're doing it, how long you have been working on this, what are the projects you have done, what is the role you played it, what is the designation you had it, blah, blah, blah. All the details must be given. Along with that, you have to mention how many months you have worked it. here you have to mention month, not date. That means if I have worked on a project on January, February, and March, so I have to mention January to March. So January 2021 to March 2021. It doesn't matter whether I started on 1st of the month or 5th of the month or 10th of the month or 25th of the month. But when I say Jan, it is considered as that month. And when I say March, when it is not considering the date. That's the reason, even though you have a project, one project is ending on 10th and you are starting another project on 15th, you cannot mention the same month because of this overlapping issue. Am I clear to you? Okay, you got it? Right. So this is what about your project management experience. Once you apply your PMP application, now you have a question like, how long does it take to get my approval? Usually PMI would respond within 5 business days. If you are lucky, you may get within 2 days or maybe in 1 day. Remember, if you submit on Friday evening, you may not get a reply till Tuesday because their day and our day are different. So our day is night for them and our night is day for them. So Monday night is what day for them. So by the time they respond, you would be sleeping. When you see your mail, it would be Tuesday morning. So that's how you have to look at it, and within that you get it. And there is one more thing. I have started my PMP application on PMI site. And I could not complete it. I saved and exited. After some time, I wanted to once again reopen it. Can I do it? Your application window is open for 90 days. That means 3 months it is open. And within these 3 months, you can reopen it and make changes, save and submit it, and you can get your eligibility. You may ask me a question. If I could not go back within 3 months, it's more than 3 months. Can I do it? Yes, definitely you can do it. The moment you open it, it will be reactivated, and once again, your window time will be 90 days. Okay? And when you are ready for this, you have your education qualification, you have your work experience, you have also underwent the training, and as on date, you have all the 3 prerequisites required. You have applied, you got your approval, and from that, you are ready for the exam. Now, whenever you want to go for exam, you should have a plan action how I should go for it. So I suggest you should take it this PMP as a project. Let's look at it. So evaluate your qualifications, attend the training, submit your application, study for 2 months because you need to have 75 to 90 hours of quality time. Whenever I say quality time, you need to be spending on exam preparation very much focus. Whenever I say that it is not a casual read, you should be reading very seriously and preparing it very focusedly. That's what I mean. Okay? And book your exam slot. And once you go for exam, I'm sure you are out with success. And my advance congratulations to you all. Okay? So before going for the exam, you have to read the PMBOK a minimum 3 times. It becomes a mandatory. It is a Bible for your exam. You have to prepare very well. Remember one thing. PMBOK is only a guidelines. They call it as a guide to PMBOK. Whenever we say guide, it is not a prescription. It is a subscription or it's a suggestion. It is suggested, you have to follow. That means in my project, I am not going to implement exactly the way the PMI PMBOK is asking to do as it is instructing. And there are no instructions. I do not need to follow them. I can do it with guidance of it. It would help me how best I can do my project with the suggestions. That's how we do it. Okay. The most important thing for this exam is practice questions. Remember, these questions, as I told you earlier, they are all scenario based. What do you mean by scenario based? Here, as a project manager, you are going to respond to a scenario described. Example, you're working in an organization, and in this organization you have to report to two different bosses. What kind of organization are you working? So I need to understand my organizational setup, that is the structure of my organization. And that is not direct question. What is this kind of organization? What is matrix organization? What is projectized organization? What is functional organization? These kind of things, straight questions they don't. They create a scenario, and based on scenario, how you respond to that scenario as a project manager from the PMI's perspective is what required. Therefore, you need to have a lot of practice. In this, the most important is the reading comprehension. What do you mean by reading comprehension? This is an English-based exam. How best you can understand, how best you can interpret, and how best you can understand what is the focus or keyword in the question, what is the mapping answers given to that. Remember, most of the questions they may not have a right answer. You are requested to select the best answer. I repeat, you are supposed to the best answer, not the right answer. What do you mean by the best answer and right answer? According to you, you may not find a right option given there, but you have to pick up what is the most applicable, appropriate answer for that scenario. That's what you have to do. For that, you need a lot of reading comprehension practice. You must understand what is the meaning between the lines, what exactly the focus of the question. That's how you have to prepare. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.